Lion King.
Okay.
I think Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba is like this really iconic trio. And of course, that was what I grew up with. That was a really important time. I was like 5, 6. And I think that something that we get from their friendship immediately is here you have this predator, right? He ends up in this space and they don't run. They make space. They kind of step into it and they gauge how he's going to respond. And I think that's really important. So given the opportunity, they give Simba an opportunity to connect with them. And then they become this trio. They do things together. They stick their necks out and they help him and they help raise him and they grow this big bond. And we see that come back, right?
That there's a level of acceptance that's from maybe some fear at the beginning, but then a level of acceptance. And then I think maybe even on Simba's spot, right? He adapts to the friends to say, like, I'm buying into what you're putting out. Like, we're in this together.
And this is not where I intended to go with this one, but it's really interesting. I think that he forgoes his innate nature to become friends with them. Right? And I think where I find myself telling clients a lot that it's important that, it's not always about where we start, but where we choose to end up. And we choose our friends. And that might take us further from some of what we've grown up with, and that's important. And so I think that Simba being able to forego his nature and to kind of live in this paradise with them, I think that takes a lot. And that's a big investment. And we see that come back when Nala shows up.
Yeah.
Because when Nala shows up and he's called back home, Timon and Pumbaa don't even question it.
Like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. I think that's what we get when we make space for each other and when we invest in each other.
I think, too, an important aspect for friendship is, yes, they're really good friends, but they have awful advice, right? Like, just because you're a good friend doesn't mean you're making the right decisions, right? So I think that's always important is you can have really solid friendships, but it's not necessarily great for you in the long term, which is what I think we see with clients that come into therapy a lot is they're growing, they're changing, and they have good friendships, but they might be outgrowing their friendships because their friends are stuck in a very different space.
Yeah. And I think that's where this is so great because even though they have that, the Hakuna Matata, right? Like, I think that's what you're referencing is that Hakuna Matata initially, we see it as this really beautiful thing, this wonderful phrase. Yeah. But it's where things kind of get, if we got stuck in that, if we didn't create space for no Hakuna Matata this time, right? If we didn't have that, then we would have been a sour experience. Pride Lands would have got ruined and Simba would have died in paradise. But because they respect Simba, because Simba has, he's
built that friendship up. Yeah.
Since he has that with them, he's able to say, hey guys, like actually I need to do this. And they go, you know what? We're right there.
They show up.
They show up. They don't just show up. They, make themselves prey.
Sing and dance and do the hula.
Yes. They become prey. They enter the lion's den. Right, really a kind of an iconic phrase, right? We're going into the wolf's den, lion's den, all those things. They're willing to do that for them. And I think that just shows how much depth that friendship has.